Making noise, but you ain't saying shit.
Shithole! What a bastard that fat, greasy pork cutlet is. What we did to the Kurds, what we did to the Kurds, he should be shot. He should be drawn and quartered and hung at dawn. Come on.
Anything else?
Come on, you can remain impartial in this.
I disagree. I don't think he should have pulled out of Syria, northern Syria.
That's right. And he had to. Do you remember the notes at Helsinki? Do you remember the bitch at Helsinki? Do you remember the notes? Syria was on them. Syria! He knew since Helsinki he was gonna betray them.
Should we have stayed in northern Syria?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For how long? Indefinitely?
No, look, find a way. This is not the way to do it. This is the way someone who was dictated to does it. Look, he's suffering from dementia. The slop bucket can't walk. The slop bucket will never go on a debate stage again. His mind, 30 years of Adderall addiction. Look at the hole in his right nostril. It bleeds daily like the stigmata.
He says he doesn't even drink. He says he never does drink.
He doesn't drink. The MAGA rapist does not drink, but he is such an Adderall. His preferred drug at all Epstein's orgies, you know, when he'd play immigrant cop and slap, he'd save his backhand for the Hispanic girls, and he would get blown by the white ones. Maggot motherfucker.
And he's sexist because of that? He's sexist that he prefers the
No, he's racist.
Oh, racist.
I'll never forget that morning I walked in 1989. I'll never forget that morning. It was the Central Park. It was the rape in Central Park. The whole city was like a tinderbox. It was like a tinderbox. We were ready to turn on each other. We were frightened. It was such a weird. I go into my office. I open the page, and the cheap skinflint maggot motherfucker, death penalty for these. 4 New York papers that morning, and the fucker's still throwing matches on cities and countries. He's still doing it. This guy's gotta go. These yucks, do you think they know him? They fell in love with him when he first started mean tweeting Obama. They fell, doubt not, poor man's awe, C-list celeb with big desk who bellows you're fired. They love him. All those MAGA Trump rides and pro-MAGAs over there, they don't know this guy. And even if they did, look, Trump is the poor, powerless white man's primal scream. Somebody must pay! Donald Trump, endorsed by more MAGA assassins than any president.
MAGA assassins? What's a MAGA assassin?
A MAGA assassin is someone who goes and shoots up a school with a rifle.
You think those are MAGA people?
Definitely.
Exclusively.
Waffle House shooter totally was. Travis Reinke totally was.
Off the top of my head, I don't recall. But like, there was a Bernie Sanders supporter who shot up a bunch of senators.
One.
I wouldn't even blame Bernie Sanders for that. So like, I don't think those people are responsible unless they directly call for violence.
Sewers of the world converge on his mouth, lay dead bodies at his feet.
Are you a poet?
I write anti-Trump haiku. Everything is 17 syllables.
Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense.
The maggot mofo will die in jail.
So we're out here today in New York City in front of MSG. Yes. Behind us there are many anti-Trump protesters. Yes. Then we have some Trump supporters here. Yes. Can you tell me a little bit more about what's going on while you're out here?
We're here because the President of the United States is coming over to see the fight, the UFC fight, and we're here to support him. We were at Trump Tower, now we're here. We always supported him all along. I voted for him 2016, and I'm going to vote for him again 2020.
Why do you think there's so many protesters out here upset with Trump?
Why there's so many upset with Trump? Because he shocked them. He shocked the world. They said he couldn't win. He couldn't win. He couldn't go no way. It's over. Hillary's going to be the next president, and he proved them all wrong. He won.
Many people say Trump is corrupt, whether it be something with Ukraine-gate, Russia-gate, Stormy Daniels, his taxes. Do you have any questions about any of that stuff, or do you think all of that Trump did fine with?
They've been trying to crucify this president even before the elections. They've been doing that way before he got elected. So I'm not surprised.
Do you think it's
But
just
we
an
won. We
excuse?
won.
Do you think
We
it's
won.
just an excuse to try to get Trump out of office?
No, they've been doing this even before he got elected. Yeah.
What's the number one thing that you like about Trump that he's actually accomplished and gotten done that you admire about him?
Well, number one, he beat the Democrats.
That's good enough for you? I mean, what else has he
That's good
accomplished?
enough for me. After 8 years of almost a total failure, we couldn't put 4 more years of Democrats. No, there would have been no more America.
So a couple of things he's done was he's been doing some renovations to the wall, he's been having some tax cuts, he's been appointing some conservative judges, but do you think he's really done enough for the Republican Party?
Listen, considering what he's going through, he's doing everything that he can.
And that's good enough for you?
He's going to do more in another 4 years. And you're going to see America come back again.
Absolutely. Last question. What would
By
you...
the way, I'm a Latino. You have Latinos here.
Yeah, I hear you guys got the accent. There are a lot of immigrants that
Yes.
support Trump.
Yes.
I want to ask, what do you want to see him do in 2020 that he hasn't done in 2016 that would really make you happy? What do you want to see him do?
Keep America safe. Secure America.
Absolutely.
We're in big danger. America's in big danger. We're being attacked by all sides.
Like what? What is the big danger that America's facing?
Terrorism, illegal immigration, cyber attacks, drugs, organized crime, mafia. They want to destroy America.
Absolutely.
We cannot allow that to happen.
Just quickly in conclusion, was there anything else you want to mention?
That I'm a Latino for Trump.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here, what it means for you to be out here?
Yeah, look, I mean, this ridiculousness has gone on for just far too long. A president of the United States used to be a symbol to the entire world of integrity, of strength. We are not a perfect country. We've made our mistakes.
Still making
but
today, yeah.
Absolutely. But there was at least some sense that we strove to be something better. And we didn't always get there, but we tried. And although our rhetoric sometimes was false and empty, it was still something to aspire to. It was still something to
The American dream, right?
to
And
teach
we
your
lived up
children
to-
about and
Yeah.
say, this is what we should stand for, this is what we should strive to be. That's meaningless now.
Yeah. What do you think we're losing our American values because of Trump?
Are we losing our American? Yeah, to some extent, because they become a mockery, right? This is a guy, he's a crook, he's a mobster. We knew that here in New York long ago. And he knows how to game the system and play people for fools, and that's what he's been doing.
So are you and this group pushing for impeachment now, and you guys are seeking out impeachment?
Oh yeah, he needs to go. I mean, the banners and the speakers are being very clear about that. They all need to go.
What do you think like the impeachable offenses that Trump committed are? I know there's Ukraine Gate stuff, emoluments clause, his taxes. So what do you think's like the best case for the Democrats to kick him out?
What seems to be the best case right now is what's developing over Ukraine Gate, right? I mean, there's multiple sworn witnesses. We're talking about career military, career State Department. He can call them any name he wants to, but the fact is these are people who've been in the government serving all different
For a long time.
For a
yeah.
long
Is that a good
time.
thing or a bad thing, though, that we might have had bureaucrats that have been in government for decades kind of sticking it to somebody who was democratically elected?
I'm not even understanding what that question means. No, these are professionals. All right, these are the tests and other things that you have to go through in order to be a career diplomat are some of the most rigorous in the world. All right, that's how it's possible to have people who might go home and vote Republican or Democrat, but come to work
I was
and
thinking
be.
about it on the macro. It's because a lot of these people have been in these agencies throughout all different types of presidencies, through the Bush administration, through
Right,
the
and they
Obama,
don't stick it
through
to
the Trump
anyone.
thing.
That's
Oh, okay,
the
so
point.
okay.
That's the point.
Yeah.
These guys keep their politics at home.
Yeah,
Where they
so
come
we'd like to think so, we'd like to think. Because I know
I'm
in
not
cases like
seeing
Peter
any-
Strzok, or like, I know that was regarded to Russia, but we'll see with more information coming out about this
you can
whistleblower.
always find single examples of people performing bad, right? But here we have an example of the person at the very top who has corrupted the entire system below him.
Yes.
Okay, we're no longer talking about one individual who can't control their passion. We're talking about the leader, the person who's supposed to set the examples, corrupting everyone below him.
I can't. I want to follow up with you and to ask, do you think this is the number one issue that New Yorkers and Americans are concerned about, impeachment?
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic, though, because like we're out here in front of Penn Station, there are a lot of homeless people around here, like this is a beat-up part of town in many senses of the word, but we're most worried about impeachment?
What does that question mean? Look, we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah.
We can solve all these problems. And in fact, one of the things that's getting in the way of us addressing homelessness okay, is that well, not just Trump, but a mentality that we shouldn't use our massive wealth. We're the wealthiest country on the planet. That we shouldn't use our massive wealth to help our fellow citizens. That's somehow bad. That's somehow weird libtard crap. No, enough of this bullshit. We're all Americans. We can help ourselves, right? And we have the ability to do that. We need to stop throwing the word socialism around like it's evil when nobody's even using it right. I mean, it's just become absurd rhetoric without anybody evaluating the actual policies and what needs to be done on the basis of will it help somebody. And they will. Yeah. And that gets proven over and over at a time. Instead we get thrown, oh, well, it's going to be Venezuela. Nobody wants to talk about France, Germany, Israel.
Well, those aren't socialist countries. They might have paid for healthcare paid for from the government. But there's a distinction between so what is socialism to you?
Socialism defined as the ownership of the means of production by the people as represented by the state. Yeah. Completely different than what we're talking about in almost all these things. And all of those states I just mentioned have all of the policies that the left is now trying to push.
But I don't think they call themselves socialist, any of them.
No, that's my point. Yeah.
Don't talk to him. He's a fascist.
No, I started picking up that these questions are going in a funny way.
Sure. Did you think what questions were unfair, if any?
Well, no. But that's the way this rhetoric goes, right? Is you ask questions that sound totally reasonable, and we'll see how it ends up getting edited. But that's fine. I'm happy to talk about it. But my point is
reasonable. Which one didn't seem reasonable? I mean. Okay, but
the point is that this label of socialism gets thrown around. Venezuela gets pulled out in order to try and mark policies that are working in other industrialized nations, the very ones that say, oh,
but don't you think we're inaccurately describing some of these European countries as socialists? Because even for the Nordic countries, they deny that they're socialist.
I don't think you're listening to me. Sure. That's my point. Look, we're a mixed economy just like they are, right? It's just on the spectrum.
Yes.
Okay? So the reason that I bring them up whenever somebody throws Venezuela out there is because we're not going towards Venezuela, right? So accusing us of being socialist a la Venezuela is absolute bullshit. So the natural rejoinder is, no, we're just like these other industrialized nations that are mixed economies just like ours, right? So that's what the debate should be. Instead of trying to create this boogeyman and scare people about socialism, we should actually be talking about real policies that actually work in similar industrialized nations. We can do this, right? We have the largest GDP on the planet.
Sure.
We can do this. So we don't need to demonize these ideas to help our people.
Absolutely.
That's my point.
I had one last question to you. I wanted to follow up on impeachment stuff. I know many Trump supporters say that Democrats are only pursuing impeachment because they don't think that somebody could beat Trump in 2020. Do you think that holds any weight?
Is that why the Republicans did it to Clinton?
Maybe, but would that make it okay if that's why Democrats were doing it now? So I'm talking about this case.
Of course not. That's why we have so many more things to talk about impeachment than, he shouldn't have lied under oath. I have no problem with Clinton's impeachment. That's fine, right? Okay. He lied under oath.
I'm not going to lie. I don't support the impeachment of Clinton. I thought that set a bad bar, and I think if we impeach Trump, it would also set a poor standard.
These are radically different scenarios, though.
Sure, but you still said that you were okay with the impeachment of Clinton.
Only because I'm a lawyer, right? So
need less of those.
Hear me out. No. Our system only works if people tell the truth under oath. The moment that they lie under oath, our entire system, which is written on paper,
all of our government lies under oath all the time, though.
Well, so does Trump, then, right? We agreed.
So he's part of the government. He's another bureaucrat. He's another politician.
Right, but when you decide that you're just going to kind of cave to that, and therefore nothing is real, then everything comes apart at the seams, right? Now you're talking anarchy and chaos.
Sure.
So at some point you need to draw lines. So while I think the way they went after Clinton, the actions that led him to lie under oath about something really pretty much bullshit was, improper. The fact that he did lie under oath
is also
now crossed a line that we need to hold. So now when we look and we see that we now have multiple sworn witnesses, people with all sorts of credibility who are now establishing that our president is lying to us, and in fact some of his own administration have lied about what actually happened. Now we're reaching the level of something that's much more than a president's dalliance with an intern.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's much more serious, and so we're in a very different space than we were under Clinton.
Sure. Just quickly in conclusion, I wanted to ask if there was anything else you wanted to mention?
No, I think we've covered it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you thought the questions were fair.
The questions are fair. How this will be edited is a different question.
It will be edited. There will not be any funny edits, but thank you for your time, and I appreciate your time. Thank you again. I appreciate that. Thank you.
This is not a matter of making money or making alternative.
USA! 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 USA!
talking about that from the side of from people that support a straight up fascist in office that said after Heather Heyer was killed in Charlottesville that those people were fine people. Somebody who's actually earning fucking checks off of them right now. So don't talk to me about like, is this about money?
That's what they said. Yeah, that's what they said.
Well, are you just asking because they said some shit?
I have to ask both sides. 100%.
This both sides stuff is, if this was 1933 and we're in Germany and you're talking about both sides, you're talking about Hitler on one side, right? Nazis on one side, and people are trying to fight that on the other side. Those are not two equal sides.
Donald Trump is here to stay. Ho, ho. Hey, hey. Donald Trump is here to stay.
So we're out here today outside of MSG. There are many protesters getting ready to yell ahead of Trump's arrival out here. What do you think about these protests? Why are you out here? What do you think about what's going on?
I think they're spoiled complaining about first world issues, and they have nothing better to do with their time, and they need meaning and sense of purpose in their lives, and this is their outlet for that.
Yeah. So I know we have a lot of people calling for impeachment, both in the Democratic Party and then more progressive people out here. What do you think about the Ukraine gate scandal, possibly Trump needing impeachment because of the emoluments clause or things like that? Are those valid?
You know, there's Russiagate. There's all these gates that are happening. There's the Mueller report. There's the Mueller There's all of it. I don't really care too much about that, to be quite honest with you. I don't get too into the finite details of that.
Yeah. Many Trump supporters are saying that the Democrats are only seeking impeachment because they don't think they could have somebody that would beat him in 2020.
Oh,
do you think that holds any weight?
It's 100% the case. They're looking for a plan B because what it is, it's because of identity politics and intersectionalism that have silenced a large part of the majority. So they go to the booth because that's where the Molotov cocktail to this other side is. Because if you're a straight white Christian male of any power, you're silenced. If you say anything, you're doxxed. So that's their way of flipping the bird back to these types.
I wanted to piggyback on that a little bit because I know we are seeing a lot of censorship now online, and many different candidates and many people in government are talking about possibly breaking up these different big tech companies. What do you think about big tech and big tech censorship?
I think it's a huge issue right now. I think it's the issue. I mean, I can reference back to the Joe Rogan podcast with Tim Pool and Jack Dorsey and the lawyer, and it's one of the biggest issues that I think is on the table right now. Yeah. It's what we should really be dealing with, not this type of crap.
Yeah. Do you think there's any weight to people calling Trump sexist or racist or having said maybe bigoted things? Yeah, none of those though. I mean, I could go all the way back to the grab her by the pussy stuff.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
And how he talks about illegal immigrants to some degree.
I mean, listen, I carry all the cards. I carry all the cards on the inverse intersectional stack, and I still see through all the bullshit. I think a lot of these things are different types, and that doesn't matter on what side of the aisle you're on. If you're alt-right, it's the Jews are the scapegoat. If you're Black Lives Matter, it's the white man, or if it's the feminist, it's the patriarchy. Where all these collectivist type groups are looking to absolve any sort of responsibility within the group collective, and that's a huge issue. I'm about radical individuality, not about collectivity.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. I just wanted to follow up and ask you, in conclusion, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
No.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it. I see you have a sign that says Trump Pence out now. You guys are obviously out here because Trump's due to arrive soon. How do you feel about what's going on? Why are you out here?
Well, I'm out here. We were just walking down the street, my friends, and we saw the protests going by, and we were like, well, yeah, we're going to follow. So here I am with the sign talking about what we believe in. So.
Are you guys big anti-Trumpers? What do you dislike about Trump?
Everything. I don't think a person who is a bad person can be a good president. So for me, he shouldn't be there.
Is there a specific thing? Because I know people complain about like Ukraine gate, they talk about Russia gate, they talk about like the emoluments clause, but is there a specific thing that you're like, I hate this about it?
Specifically in the impeachment investigation right now, he held medical support to Ukraine for people to look into his political enemies. So like that alone is impeachable, and there's so much happened before that. You can't be getting accused of rape and all these things and expect to have continuous support for me.
I know he was complaining about, it was the military support, but he was complaining about potential corruption with Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Do you think there was any weight there? Hunter Biden was on some gas exec board making like $60K a month.
for me, that's not really the problem. He shouldn't be asking other governments to look into his enemies because that's not their job. If he has a problem with it, then he could look into it. And I don't think they have any connection to each other in the sense that if he's doing something wrong, he should be in trouble for that, not Trump getting him in trouble for
Do you think that any Democrat would be particularly good to beat him in 2020? Like, who would have the best chance of beating him? Who do you want to see beat him?
I mean, I have to look. I want to do some more research on that, but like names I know, Bernie Sanders, things like that, he definitely believes in things I believe in, so I'm going to start looking into that.
I had one last question on impeachment, because a lot of people are talking about impeachment, but the election's kind of coming up in 2020.
Yeah.
Do you believe in impeachment? Like, are you thinking they should move forward?
I do. Impeachment is our right as America. If we feel something is corrupt, then we have the opportunity to go ahead and force that happen. So,
do you think there's potential for him to be removed in the Senate if impeached in the House?
Yeah, I mean, I've been reading up on it a lot, and so they took a vote yesterday or Thursday on the investigation process, and they've decided it's lawful. So from now on, the White House can't really deny that there's any weight to it.
Some Trump supporters say that we should probably just wait until the election, and have people speak at the ballot box. A lot of Trump supporters say that there isn't a Democrat that could beat Trump in 2020, and that's why Democrats are pushing forward with this. Do you think that claim has any weight?
No. I think he's pissed enough people off at this point. Even from the beginning, he's proven again and again that he's a terrible person and doesn't deserve to be there.
He's been pissing off people on the right even nowadays,
Yes.
so a lot of people are frustrated with Trump.
It's not even just Democrats anymore. I think the world as a whole is seeing that this is not the type of person we want.
Absolutely. Quickly in conclusion, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you. It was
Yeah.
nice to meet you too. Thank you. So we're out here today in front of MSG. Trump's due to get here. There's some demonstrators to my left, but you guys are out here supporting the president. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here, what it means for you to be out here?
Why we're here? Well, first of all, we want to support President Trump because Democrats running unconstitutional impeachment. It's not even approved or anything. Second of all, is that there is a coup. It's not soft, it's hard. It goes for a few years, and it's going to continue.
Realistically, it's not actually a coup because it's within the government. It's not like a violent overthrow.
No, it is a coup because it's sponsored. It's planned. It's a document being distributed through the various sources by intelligence agencies. It's a coup. Coup doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be military.
Well, many
it could deposed by demonstrations, waving, and they actually saw in the country. They're actually playing in the hands of our enemies. It's plain. And Trump is great because he is really apolitical. He is for people. People don't realize it.
Well, let me ask you.
I'm immigrant.
Absolutely.
I came legally.
Absolutely.
So I don't understand how you can come to this country and not respect the law. I mean, it just like doesn't make any sense.
Well, let me ask you. More than 50% of the people in the country right now, when polled, say they want to proceed with impeachment. Why do you think over half of the country is interested in impeachment?
Well, I hope the polls being taken, it's taken from your station because you asking us the opinion. We're being presented with something, 50%, 40%, 30%. That's what they said when in the 2016 when Trump won. They said he's gonna lose, and he won because people are being brainwashed. I came from Soviet Union 40 years ago. It's a brainwashing.
Do you trust the media?
No, not at all. I ask you who you are. I don't know what you're gonna do with my
Don't worry,
interview.
I'll keep it kosher.
You might be editing, whatever.
No,
but
God
it doesn't
forbid.
matter. If people wants to have opinion, it's what this country for.
What is your favorite thing about Trump that he's actually accomplished, that he's actually gotten done? What do you like about him?
I'm gonna tell you what. Number one, he is breaking this America free for somebody else. It's for America first. He breaks regulations. He raises level of economy unprecedented. Full employment between white, blacks, yellow, blue, anybody, it doesn't matter. He wants America to be great. He doesn't want America to be betrayed because he doesn't believe in a big government. He believes in people.
Absolutely.
And He is for fair trade for America first. He doesn't want to get involved in a worthless wars. He doesn't want us to be police something between references between Kurds, Turks. It goes for centuries. I know the history. We don't belong there. Let them resolve it.
Absolutely.
We have a presence. We know what to do for United States. Period.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. No, somebody threw it at him, bro. Somebody threw it. Down there. Somebody over there.
You see it?
Somebody
You did
over
it?
there threw it.
Did you see who?
I didn't see who, but it came from over there.